All right, let's get into a story that so many people misunderstand. It's an ancient tale, yeah, but it's really about cosmic law, the danger of the human ego, and a much, much bigger divine purpose.
So, you have to ask, why would a goddess choose to do this? And the answer, you'll see, isn't just about defending her husband's honor. It's way bigger than that. It's about hitting the reset button on the entire cosmos. You know, our story doesn't start with some huge explosion. It starts with something much smaller, but so much more dangerous. A simple act of disrespect in an assembly of gods that's about to cause ripples across all of creation. Okay, so picture this. You're in this massive, celestial hall. It's packed with gods, sages, all the heavy hitters. And in walks the powerful leader, Daksha Prajapati. As he enters, everyone, and I mean everyone, gets to their feet to show respect. Well, almost everyone. Two figures remain seated, Brahma, who is his father, and the god Shiva. And this one moment, this is where we see the central conflict laid bare. It's the human ego clashing with divine law. See, Daksha only sees a personal insult. He thinks, my son-in-law just disrespected me. But for Shiva, it's not personal at all. As a timeless, eternal being, for him to stand for a mortal, even a powerful one like Daksha, would literally break a fundamental rule of the universe. It's a really subtle point of cosmic law, of dharma, that Daksha, in his pride, was completely blind to. So, blinded by this wounded pride, Daksha just loses it. He erupts. Right there, in front of everyone, he starts humiliating Shiva, mocking how he looks, his character, everything. And Shiva's response? He does nothing. He just sits there in total silence. And that calm, it just poured gasoline on the fire of Daksha's rage. To get his revenge, Daksha decides to throw a massive sacrificial ritual, a yagna. And for his final, petty act of spite, he makes a point of not inviting his own daughters Sati or her husband Shiva. So, from her own home, Sati sees the skies literally filled with the chariots of the gods, all heading to one place, her childhood home. Now, she knows she wasn't invited, but that pull of family of wanting to see her sisters, it was just overwhelming. She goes to Shiva thinking, let's go together. But Shiva, ever the calm one, he gently tries to explain what's really going on. He warns her, look, your father's anger isn't some small thing. It's deep. And if you go, he's absolutely going to turn that anger on you. But here's the thing. Sati, being a divine power herself, comes back with her own argument based on dharma. She says there are certain places you don't need a formal invitation to go. Your teacher's home, a good friend's house, and your own father's home. So, in her mind, she has a perfectly righteous and lawful reason to make this journey. Shiva sees that her mind is made up, that she's acting on a principle she believes in, so he respects her decision. He doesn't just let her go, he sends her with a huge, grand escort. But the welcome she gets, well, it was even colder than he could have possibly imagined. When Sati gets there, it's absolutely heartbreaking. The only person who even comes to greet her is her own mother. Everyone else, her sisters, all the guests, the whole assembly, they're just paralyzed with fear of what Daksha might do. They completely ignore her. Can you imagine? The pain she must have felt, but her love for Shiva was stronger. She walks right up to her father, right there at the main sacrificial fire, and she calls him out. She basically says, how can you slander him when your own father, Braha, worships him? But Daksha, he doesn't even look at her. He acts like she's not even there, just turns his back on his own daughter. So now she's faced with this complete public rejection, this incredible dishonor, and the lies being spread about her husband. And in that moment, Sati makes a choice that is going to change divine history forever. This right here is the absolute crucial point. This was not an act of desperation. This is not just a wife taking her own life because she's upset. No. This was a conscious, powerful, and deliberate act of renunciation. She was severing the physical tie to a father who could hold so much hate for the divine. And listen, this is so important to get right. She didn't jump into the sacrificial fire. Sati was a master yogini. She sat down, entered a deep meditative state, and summoned an internal, mystical fire from within her own being. It's called yogagni. She used it to consume her own physical body. This wasn't weakness. It was an unbelievable display of her own divine power. When the news of what Sati did reaches Shiva, well, the silent, meditating god is just consumed by a grief so deep, so profound, that it instantly transforms into a rage that will literally shake the universe.
The first thing to break wasn't a person or a place. It was Shiva's calm. The absolute, profound silence that he embodies was shattered by his roar of pure agony.
In his fury, he reaches up, rips a single lock of hair from his head, and smashes it on the ground. And from that point of impact rises this terrifying warrior, Virabhadra, the literal, physical embodiment of Shiva's wrath. And Shiva gives this unstoppable force one single, chilling command. Go. Destroy Daksha and destroy his arrogant sacrifice. And the result? It was a brutal, but you could say, a necessary cosmic correction. Virabhadra and his armies just descend on that ceremony. They wipe out the ritual, they punish all the gods who just stood by and watched it happen, and they humble Daksha once and for all. It was like wiping the cosmic slate completely clean of all that ego and disrespect. And this is what reveals the real hidden truth of the whole story. Sati's action wasn't just a reaction, it was a prescription. There are ancient texts that call the goddess Beshaji, which means the medicine. She is the catalyst who can turn the peaceful Shiva into the fierce Rudra when the world needs a powerful healing. Her sacrifice was the medicine. It was the only thing that could cure the disease of Daksha's ego. So we have to correct this common misunderstanding. This is not the tragic story of a heartbroken wife. This is the calculated, purposeful act of a divine being. Sati was the catalyst. She knew that only something this big, this dramatic, could unleash the righteous fury that was needed to basically perform a cosmic surgery on a universal scale. And this story, it really forces us to ask a pretty deep question. It makes you think. Sometimes, maybe the most necessary, even the most compassionate act is to tear something down completely. What old structures in our world, in our own lives, built on nothing but ego and arrogance, need to be destroyed so that something true, something righteous, can finally be rebuilt?